So why are we holding this event? Well, the main reason is that I hope to bring to my colleagues in Parliament the horror that is explosive weapons that are often left behind after periods of conflict. When conflicts apparently end, the dangers don't go away, and it's usually the most innocent of people who are affected in the aftermath.
Our approach has been twofold. One has been to support many organisations, some of which are here today, to help remove those landmines, those explosive devices, those IEDs that remain in the soil or around the buildings for when civilians return back. And the second aspect of it is education, is making people be aware of the dangers that they might face so they're able to prevent walking into situations where they could lose a limb or even worse, be actually killed.
What we're doing here today is we've got a landmine ground penetrating radar drone. So it flies along the ground in an automated fashion and looks for mines. It's a much safer, much cost-effective, much easier way of looking for mines. We can save a hell of a lot of lives with these, and once they're up and running with multiple units, we can clear whole minefields with kilometres at a time.
So Cobham's here today with our partner DroneOps. We've been working with DroneOps now for several months to develop an ID detection system mounted onto an unmanned aerial vehicle. So the intent here is that we take the operator out of harm's way. The detection technology is ground penetrating radar. Cobham has a very good pedigree in ground penetrating radar. We have fielded many systems in support of military and humanitarian operations, primarily in Afghanistan, but in many other theatres of operation also.
So Optima tackles the emerging threat epitomised by the improvised explosive device. This has moved the explosive threat away from the static minefields that are cleared after war to actually coping with improvised explosive devices which are a threat during the conflict. So yes, we're here to make a huge difference to the humanitarian communities.
Traditional mine detection technologies look for anomalies. They look for metal in the ground. They look for an object which may be a landmine. We directly detect explosives. So the sort of material that would only be there if it is a landmine. So there's the principal difference between us and traditional technologies. I mean, it gives you a reason to get up a day. I mean, you know, you're always happy to go into work. I mean, you know, it really fires you up, and you feel the drive to push it forward every day. Through all the problems, through all the challenges, you just feel that drive to keep going forward.
It is quite incredible, as you say, the amount of destruction that can be created by blast injuries. We know in military combats, blast injuries make up about 70% of the things that we're seeing, so there's a big problem, and this is blast, wherever it occurs, is going to create a big problem. So to be able to do research into that and try and mitigate against the effects that blast causes is a great privilege.
We design and manufacture EOD equipment. EOD stands for Explosive Ordnance Disposal. We develop robotic platforms, unmanned ground vehicles. Specifically, the robotics are for IEDs, so they're a platform to carry down various tools to deal with an IED, so an operator doesn't have to walk down there in a suit.
So what we do through consultation, initially, understanding the threats that these people face, is provide them with not just a box off a shelf, but really a solution. So this is the right equipment for this threat, and by the way, this is the right training that will provide you with some legacy so that you can go forward and deal with that threat.
Yeah, our business, we specialise in taking sensors, modifying the sensor and making them work aligned with the drone. And we got approached by Cobham. Well, it was a mutual conversation about 6 months ago, out of the curiosity as to whether we could potentially assist by putting a ground penetrating radar on a drone to help detect the mines. Well, this is the backbone of the company. We base everything on ethics. We're not interested in horrible military applications of drones, which is unfortunately the vernacular that goes with them. But our theory and our logic on how we develop the business is, if we can create something that allows us to go to bed at night, and then technically create something in terms of inventiveness that has a legacy, because we're the early adopters and we're the early developers of the technology, we win.
I've seen the impact that mines have in terms of the way that they devastate communities, and I've seen also, been lucky enough to see communities transformed. I've been back to places 10 years later that there is a job still to be done to clear the world of landmines. Last year we completed Mozambique, but there are other countries like Angola, Cambodia, Afghanistan, where there is a significant problem. Communities that are basically, they're locked out of their own fields. They can't access healthcare or schools.
We know of the harm that mines and other explosive devices do to people in conflict, the communities that have to return to their homes afterwards, the impact in terms of injury, death, stopping people farming, getting their livelihoods going again. And so it's great to be here today at this demonstration organised by the all-party group, and to see all of the organisations represented using very, very old techniques and some really modern cutting-edge technology, which we want to take out in the world and work with partners and communities so they can get their life back on track as quickly as possible.